Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today it's our session on what chi? Language development in preschool, clear, part 2. In part 1 in the previous session we talked about what chi? Different phases of language development. I'm going for a short recap of that chi. As we said earlier that when we say language development, specifically we are referring to what chi? Second language development. Clear? Particularly we are dealing with what? Second language development, because first language is obviously there at home, in family environment. So when we talk about second language, it could be there. For example, here in our schools, the second language is usually what? English. Clear? Somewhere it could be French, Arabic, or Urdu, Pashto, whatever it is, whatever second language is there. We talked about 3 phases. Clear? Why 3 phases? Because usually in preschool, the child remains with us for 3 years, aging 3 to 5. Clear? The child enters the preschool usually in 2.5 or 3 years, which we call what? Junior Montessori. Then the child moves to what? 4 years, which we call what? Senior Montessori. And then 5 years, which we call what? Advanced Montessori. Clear? Names could be there. So somebody calls it what? Prep or KG1, KG2, KG3, whatever you call it, whatever you name it. Clear? I'm not concerned with that. I'm concerned with the overall plan, 3 years plan there. So that's why we divided, though we have 3 years. Clear? So that's why we divided it into 3 phases. What was the first phase there? Where we talked about what? The development of phoneme and grapheme. Clear? For example, when I'm saying some letter A is there, where it is there with certain shape. It is there with it is basically a symbol of a sound of a language. If somebody is asking you what is A, you can simply respond what? That A is, clear, in written form. In a written form, it is a symbol of certain sound of English language. So here we are supposed to develop 2 things. One, the graphical form of this sound. And what is this graphical form of this sound? Which we call letter A. Clear? And secondly, its sound. I'm not talking about its variants. Clear? The sounds could be there with certain variants now. A specifically is there with multiple sounds. In man, it is there with one sort of sound. In ball, another sort of sound. Am I clear, ji? So A could be there with variants of sounds. I'm not talking about those variants. I'm just talking about a common sound or a basic sound. A basic sound is what? A. Clear? And this A is called what? Phoneme. So in phase 1, we deal with grapheme and phoneme of letters of second language. Phoneme is A, letter is A, clear, of English language. Along with that, in phase 1G, we talked about what? Enrichment of vocabulary. Enrichment of vocabulary. And what sort of vocabulary? Particularly, specifically, the vocabulary of nouns, naming words, surrounding objects, so that the child may get familiarity of surroundings in second language. Usually in first language, the child keeps getting the data, clear, from family, from home, from mother, from siblings. Got it, ji? But that data is there in first language now. And here we are concerned with what? Second language. That also creates a demand for a certain preschool. Make it clear. Certain people say that we can go for all these things at home. But can you create that environment at home all the time? Is it possible? No. That's why it was felt. Clear? What was felt? The demand for a preschool. a certain specific place where a child could be kept before school for all these activities. So in phase 1G, we talked about what G? Grapheme and phoneme of letters of second language. Along with that, what G? Word bank. Word bank, which we call what G? Enrichment of vocabulary. What sort of word bank G? Mostly naming words. And what sort of naming words G? Of surrounding it. It must be, make it clear G, it must be surrounding objects, natural objects G. When we refer to that 10 principles of Montessori. Clear? Go for that basics of fundamentals of Montessori. We discussed there G. Among those 10 principles, one principles were what G? Employ natural consequences. What does that mean to say that what G? Employ natural environment? No? Suppose if I'm going for the vocabulary of astronomy, I'm going for the vocabulary of certain strange things which are not usually there found around that child. So try to go for the vocabulary which exists in his life and the life of that child. For example, that child is there in some village preschool. So majority of the vocabulary must be related to what? Village belongings, village entities, or whatever exists in surrounding G, basics of that. That was phase 1G. In phase 2G, we talked about what G? We moved from smaller to capital letters, the same. Grapheme and phoneme. And in first half of second year, means senior Montessori, we'll go for what G? Vocabulary of same nouns. But from second half G, we'll move towards what G? Word formation. Now from letter, we are moving towards what? Development of word. I'm going for the recap of the previous session G. We have discussed in detail, clear, in part 1G. You can, those who are watching it on YouTube G, can find the video there G in part 1. We have discussed in detail. I'm going for the recap for those who were not here in previous session. So that G, what is word formation G? That there we talked about what? Phonic reading. On one hand, I'm saying G, word formation. Word formation means making words. On the other hand, I'm saying what G? Through phonic reading. Apparently, it seems contrastive statement that on one hand, I'm saying reading. On the other hand, I'm saying what G? Word formation. So it's not contrastive G. The more the child receives data, I'm talking about here reception. The more he receives, clear? The more he forms or develops. Or the way he receives, in the same way he develops. Here receives means what? Phonic reading. He is receiving what? Different sounds. He is receiving different sounds getting combined with each other to make some other bigger sound. Some other bigger sound. And that bigger sound is called what? Word. I may repeat that. The child receives different sounds getting combined to make a bigger sound, which is called what? A word. So the way he receives, in the same way, he automatically starts forming those words on his own, making those words on his own, which is called what? Word formation. For example, G, if I'm getting here, G, a frame. Last time we talked about a frame. Clear? What is this frame, G? In this frame, I'm having what? At. I'm having what? At. And I'm also having what? G? Certain other cards, G. Clear? Which could be used to make what? G? A word. This is called word formation frame. Word formation frame. It could be there in form of what? These flashcards. It could be there on board. It could be there in form of learning center. Clear? It depends upon the availability of your material. You can make it in multiple ways. In one way, for example, I am doing this. Clear? Now the child is picking up what different sounds. Clear? And he is adding it. Clear? Now that at first, what is phonic reading? At. What is it? At. At makes what? At. Along with that, I'm adding what? R. R. Clear? R sound. Now he is making what? Rat. Clear? You gave him which sound? At. Now he is making what? Rat. Clear? Next he is making what? Clear? What is this sound? S. S. He is making what? Sat. Now he is making what? Hat. 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 Got it? Are you getting my point? So you can use this frame. Now I'm using what? Word frame. Word frame. Word formation frame. Clear? This is the first phase. I'm here using what? That two phones. Clear? Adding with some third phone. Clear? To make what? A word. 3-letter word. 3-letter word. Then you can extend to what? 4-letter word. Am I clear? It depends upon your clear exercises. When you are clear that the child is able to make the words 3-letter words, then you can move to what? 4-letter words. Then 5-letter words. So this is there in what? Second phase. In second phase in senior Montessori. The child aging 4. The child of 4. Got it? This was one way. In another way, for example, I can use also these movable alphabets. You can see using certain mat, usually white mat. On that white mat, you people can do it. During the break, we'll go for this practical work. Or even in the previous sessions, you had done it. That I'll pick, for example, we use this frame what? At. Now I can make this at using with movable alphabets. I'll pick up what? A with what? T. I picked up this one. Clear? Along with that, I'm adding what? Sorry, I'm not finding ter here. Will you please help me out? Ter. Thank you. Give me a. For example, I'm holding, this is F. Okay, sorry. Can you see this? Got my point? Clear? Now, can you help me out with R? Are you noticing this? Now the child can make and child must make on his own. That basic frame was what? At. Basic frame is at. You are replacing this one. Clear? You can give variety what? Rat, then bat, then sat, mat, hat. Clear? Another activity. It also creates what? Interesting element for the child. Am I clear? That as we discussed now, that activities. But what activities? There must be variety now. Or am I all the time using it on what tracing notebook? No. In multiple ways. Then you can, as word puzzles. Then later on you can mix it all up. You can also ask the child, clear? To make different words on his own. In the beginning, he will commit what, ji? Thank you. He will commit what, ji? Mistakes. But later on, with the passage of time, clear, the child will feel confident. Clear, in making what? Words. Now he is moving from letters to words. Clear, you can also use, for example, the different cards where the words are already there. Ji. Clear, somewhere, for example, ji, I'm using here what, ji? A as a middle sound. As a middle sound, ending sound, beginning sound. Got my point? For example, I'm here using, I can use this initial 2G. What are initial 2? Ka. What is it? Ka. At first, I use what? Ending, na? Here I'm using what? Ending, na? Here I'm using what? Beginning. Ka. In this frame, I'll just give the child what? Ka. K, A. K, A. Third sound, he will add himself. Sometime T, cat. Sometime P, cap. Sometime can. Got my point? Is that clear? So you can develop multiple frames. And I'm saying that if you are not having this material, minimum you can use what? Your whiteboard. What? Your board. On board you can make a frame of initial sounds, sometime ending sounds, sometime middle sounds. Let the child place, for example, when I'm saying middle sound, in the same case. Are you noticing now that if suppose I'm using now the middle sound, what is it? What is the middle sound? Now I can make the child, clear, or I can invite the child to place something in the beginning of his own choice and in the ending of his own choice. Got my point? Now he is using what? Two sounds, two phonemes, two graphemes to make a new word. Clear? So in one word you can say that making words. We started from where? Initial sounds, individual sounds, individual letters. From individuals now we are moving towards what? Words. Formation of words. So word formation must be there through frames. Through frames. As I'm repeatedly telling you that this is one sort of a frame. These are called language frames. Language frames, where the child places the letters on his own to make new G. Then G, in next phase, this was your second phase G. And here, in second phase, vocabulary will move from noun to verb as well. What sort of vocabulary now? Action words. Walking, singing, eating, drinking. Walks, talks, stops, starts. Am I clear, Ji? Action words. But make it clear that these action words must be there, sensibly picked and used. I actually used two types, Ji. One, routine. When I said what, Ji? Talks, walks, stops. This is what? Routine words. While practicing these words, special care must be taken, Ji, that you may not mix multiple verbs. No. Try to go for one sort a day, or one sort a week. Ali talks. Ahmed walks. Alicia writes. This is what? Routine. He is not getting the overall complete sense of that, but through listening. This is called what? Oral development. This is what? Oral development. Then the next day or next week, I gave you another example of what? Progressive. Where continuous action is there. Ji. What? Washing, cleaning, writing, walking. Ali is walking. Alicia is talking. Got my point? Here my concern, make it clear, ji. Here my concern is not is. Here my concern is not there. That knowingly, unknowingly, through listening, clear, he'll keep getting that. When I'm using it, I am speaking, you are listening, she is walking. But my major concern in second language, make it clear here, in phase 2, is not the difference between is and are. Here my concern is what she, it could be there, knowingly, unknowingly, directly, indirectly, the child is getting through listening the difference of is and are. If he is getting, I'm not blocking it, make it clear. But I am saying that my focus is more upon the vocabulary of what she, walking, talking, writing, clear? On the other hand, what she, walks, talks, writes, speaks. Am I clear? Action words. This was there in phase 2. But in phase 3, my focus will shift from what she, clear? Noun and verb to what she, sentence making. And sentence making is based upon what structure? And that was what she, the difference between is, am, and are at one place. Then the difference between is and was. Are you noticing the transition? Are you noticing the spiral progression or spiral development? Gradual development? In third year, means advanced mod 3, my focus is now on combining nouns with verbs. Because the basic acquaintance, familiarity of noun and action words have been given previously, G, in phase 1 and phase 2. Now in phase 3, I am focusing more on what, G? Joining noun with verbs. Clear? But focusing on what? The difference between is, am, and are at first place. And second place, the difference between is and was. Ali is writing now. Ali was not writing yesterday. Clear? The difference between today and yesterday and tomorrow. But through what, Chi? Sentence frames. Through what? Sentence frames. Ma'am, if you don't mind, can I have one frame from there? Any frame from that inside room or from this one? Somewhere you could find it. I just want to show you sample specifically for those who would be watching it on YouTube, Ji. That how to make a sentence frame. As you can see it there, Ji. On the soft boards, Ji. How to develop this sentence frame, Ji. I'm grateful, ma'am. Thank you. Sorry to bother. For example, Ji. This is a frame of question, Ji. Question mark is missing. A frame is what, Ji? Question. Can I have? This is, for example, Ji. Is it, this is a question frame, for example. We randomly picked up from boards. I just want to show you a sample. Clear? This is development of what? Sentence now. In phase 2, we talked about what, Chi? Word formation. Word formation, development of words, or in simple word, word making. Word making. In third phase, now we are talking about what, Chi? Sentence making, or development of sentence, or sentence formation. Here is some example. Example of what? A question tag. Is it a clear? Now, basically the question is what, Chi, here? Is. Question is what? Is. That is being brought in the beginning. You are not teaching grammar, make it clear. That was a problem now. That we taught language through what, Chi? Grammar. No. We need not to go for grammar. We need to go for real-time situation. Am I clear, Chi? Is it the child will place what, Chi? A word here, some noun. Some noun here. This is one way. In another way, Chi, you can make this is a frame. Those, the one who made it, I don't know. You can what, Chi? Place this blank in place of what, Chi? Is. Got my point? For example, is he? Is he? You can add another verb here. Is he writing? Is he writing? Am I writing? Is she writing? Am I writing? I'm going for the difference of 2G. Is and am. With is, I'm using what sometime? He. Is she? Is Ali? Is Alicia? Is Saim? Got it, Chi? Then, Chi, if I'm making it a blank here, next time I place what, Chi? Are. Are the boys writing? Are they writing? Just to give him the concept of what, Chi? The difference between singular and plural. The usage of am, with I usage of am, with singular usage of is, with plural usage of are. Got my point, Chi? Here is another one, Chi. How to answer it, for example, Chi. That was a question tag. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm just giving you sample. Clear? You can say the difference of do and does, the difference of has and have. Clear? It starts from where, G? Advanced Montessori. Make it very clear. The basic structures, G. This was a question tag. Sorry, this one. This one was a question tag. And this is what, G? The answer. If positive. If positive. Yes, it is. For example, is it a ball? Yes, it is a ball. Got it, Chi? If negative, Chi? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I asked you to go for what? For example, that can, cannot. Clear? Where structure is being used. Okay, if you can pause it for some time. For example, Chi, here is another frame for you, Chi. Clear? What is it, Chi? What did you have in breakfast? Clear? One important thing, that I'm not concerned with what, Chi, exact reading of something or something. I'm saying what, Chi? Language development. Language. In language development, we are talking about third phase, sentence formation. Am I clear, Chi? Here I'm using the structure of what, Chi? Have or have not. Have or had. Have or had. Clear? For example, I have a pen. I don't have a pen. Clear? This is a question tag, a frame. In the answer, G. Clear? Look at this. This is sentence frame, G. If the answer is what, G? This I had, for example, egg. I had bread. I had milk. I had milk. What was the question tag? What did you have? What did you have? Repeatedly when this question is being practiced in the class, G. Clear? Among different children. Clear? For example, 10 times, 15 times. So, when I'm saying that oral language development, oral language, clear that the structure is being carved in the mind of that child. What did you have? What did you have? What did you have? And the question is there, but in the answer format, what is it? I had this. One child is saying this. Another child, for example, one child, I had eggs. Another child, I had bread. Third child, I had milk. Got my point? So you are doing what? Sentence formation. Sentence formation. Using what? Language frames. Or these are also called structure frames. Previously we used what? Word frames. And these are what? Structure frames. And you know well, we have discussed in very much detail in language sessions, that language is based upon what? Structure. Clear? For example, another one here, I'm thankful. Thank you, that how many blank do you have? Do you have? Do you have is one, is one language frame. Now she is going for what? Compound of that. How many language frames I am having here? 2. One language frame is, do you have? Yes, I have. No, I don't have. This is one. And what is the other half part? How many? Clear? I am combining 2 questions here. Or in other words, I am combining 2 language frames in one. 2 in 1. Clear? So in the answer, the child will go for what? If the answer is positive, I have 1, I have 2, I have 3. For example, how many colors do you have? How many colors? So I have 6 colors. How many brothers do you have? Once you were telling me about some joke when the child was saying that he had no sister. She asked what? How many siblings? Sisters? How many sisters? She was asking some child, how many sisters do you have? Clear? And the child got worried and he went back home, just in a lighter note I'm saying, and he started asking his mom and dad that why didn't he have any sister? Got my point? So what was the question there? How many sisters do you have? Clear? If, for example, 1, I have 1, and if no, I have no sisters. I have no markers. I have no colors. Another language frame. Another sample, Thank you, my team. But I have just got these, For example, what is it, Do you like? Do you like? Now, what is this? The language frame question once again, question tags, Conversational. All these are what? Make it clear, Conversational structures. Am I clear, Do you like? Got it, This was a question tag. For example, do you like mangoes? Do you like potato? Clear? Do you like ice cream? Do you like salty? Do you like sweets? Got it? Whatever question you place, you can go for multiple questions here for a practice. In the answer, what? Yes, I like. If it is positive. If it is positive. If the answer is negative, what? No, I don't like. No, I don't like. And instead of doing all these, what do we do? Sorry, with due respect, with apologies. We go for what? The book is there. Certain English lines are written there. We translate those lines. Am I clear, So in third phase, we talked about what? This. That sentence formation. Through what? Language frames. Through what language? Frames, Am I clear, So these were 3 phases, Clear? As a whole generally. Now I am moving ahead, In that first phase, if you could see, where we talked about phoneme and grapheme. Phoneme and grapheme. Here, clear, we go for all these activities, which we divided into basically, thank you, I'm thankful, into 2 groups, Into what? 2 groups. Or I can make it 3, but generally we talk about 2, Identification and formation. And you can make it as a general idea that always we go for whatever clear level is there. At first we introduce something, which we usually in term of education we call it what? Exposure based. Clear? Or we call it what? Exposition based, sorry. Where we expose certain new idea. Certain activities are for identification and certain activities are for formation. Of what? Grapheme or phoneme. For specifically aging 3. At first we go for what, chi? Video. Am I clear, chi? In that circle time session, ji, those who were here, they must have experienced it. And for next batch, inshallah, we'll go for it once again, ji, for this third batch. Clear, you'll go for practical activities as well there. That how to play that video. Got it? Then, ji, flashcards, ji, that we introduced. Different sounds, letters through what, chi? Objects, chi. Through what? Objects, chi. For example, I'm not specifying it, that different objects are there, chi. They're linked with what, chi? For example, this was here, arrow. Arrow. Got my point? Alligator. Apple. Here am I using some word? At first, no. At first, what, chi? Sounds. If I am combining this with what, chi? Letter. Got my point? Am I holding it reverse? Is it correct now? Got it, chi? When you are joining shape with what letter? Now you are using both, chi. When you are uttering from your mouth or from your video, that is what? Phoneme. That is what? Phoneme. Clear? Then linked with certain object, vocabulary. Then linked with what, chi? That grapheme. As we discussed in phase 1. Are you noticing it? Grapheme, phoneme, and then what, chi? Vocabulary. Word bank. Word bank related to what? The sound or the letter A. Got it, chi? Then, chi, how to form it, chi? How to form it, chi? Clear? The list is there, chi. Through rope, chi, air, palm, sand tray, sand letter, dough paint, cutting pasting, chi. Through learning center, chi. And finally, chi, what? Reinforcement activities, certain reinforcement activity, for which we will go for what now, ji? Certain practical exercise, ji. Now, ji, when you have learnt all these activities practically, ji, that how to do these activities practically, clear, with your kids, clear, in that, ji, I have fixed certain activities, ji, which you will go for what, ji? Fixed. When I'm saying fixed now, for example, you are introducing a new letter, F. You are introducing some new letter, K. Clear? I'm talking about 3 years, as I told you that, 3 years. Clear? In that, specifically, ji, that these activities are fixed. What, chi? That initial identification activities are fixed. You have to go for all those activities, clear, all the time. Clear? That you will go for what, chi? Video. That links are also given to you. That which links you will use or which videos you will use. Links are given to you. Ji. You will use those links. You will use those specific videos. And mind it that, please, don't go for all the activities available there on Google, ji. That certain videos are not authentic. Clear? Pronunciation in certain videos is not correct. Pronunciation is wrong. Sounds are given wrong. So whatever is told, those are authentic, ji. Here, ji, videos, flashcards, fixed activity. After that, ji, air, palm, back, fixed activity, ji. Sand tray, fixed activity, because these are sensorial. These are what? Sensorial, ji. As I told you in the beginning, ji, that when we talk about Montessori, the basic ideal of Montessori is what? Sensorial development. Later on, we added certain other things Clear? That lingual development or behavioral or logical or motor skills or whatever you call it, that basically basic essence is what is sensorial learning. Clear? That multiple intelligence can be sharpened, clear, through these sensorial activities. In that then learning centers, as you have experienced, you have noticed that on learning center, clear, you can go for at least 5-6 times the practice of one letter 5-6 times. And while using these activities, clear, as I told you that do mind it clearly, that are all the kids engaged or not. Practically you have learnt it, that for example 30 children are there. How will you divide all those 30 into groups? Which group will go for what activity? For example, one group is going for what? Learning center. Another group can go for what? Do activity. Third group can go for what? Tracing activity. Fourth group could be there for what? Cutting pasting activity. Am I clear, ji? So don't forget about those. That division of activities among groups when number of children are more. Clear? When number is less, it is easy to conduct. When number is more, clear, that needs specific care. That needs attention, ji. Clear? You have to be very careful. That so that no child is getting ignored. That usually it happens that when 30, clear, 25, 20 kids are there and you are conducting certain activities, usually it happens that 3-4 kids are involved. Rest, clear, they get bored, clear, they lose their attention, and finally they lose their interest. When they are losing their interest, clear, your purpose gets failed. So the simple way is that divide them in groups. Clear? One group, one sort of activity, another group, second activity, third group, third activity, fourth group, fourth activity, and you are actually roaming. That needs quick support, clear, quick guided task. All the activities must be guided in your presence. Clear? It's up to your agility that when you are shifting from one group to another, second group to third group, don't stick to one group. Clear? For few minutes with one group, next few minutes with next group, next few minutes with next group. In this way, you are actually keeping them all engaged. The basic ideal of Montessori, where we engage a child in certain activities using certain material in a certain environment to make him a whole child. So this will be called proper engagement. Usually it is observed that the Montessori directress is engaging certain children and rest of the children are just roaming, just sitting idle, doing nothing, getting bored, losing interest. Clear? That kills the purpose. Clear? That actually kills the real objective of that. Clear? Tracing, these are compulsory. Then the rest of the activities, for example, clear, other than these are what? For example, you are talking about what? Rope. Am I clear, ji? These can be there random. For example, one day you are going for what? Rope activity. Along with that, what? Tracing, that air palm back activity or sand tray activity. Got it? For one letter. Next time you can replace rope with what? Dough. Clear? Next time you can replace with dough with what? Cutting pasting. Next time you can replace cutting pasting with what? Coloring. Using crayon or paintbrush. One thing. And second thing, one group with what? Rope. Second group with what? Dough. Third group with what? Cutting pasting. Fourth group with what? Paint. It also depends upon the interest. As we say that we follow the child. What was the second principle of Montessori? That at first we observe the child, then we follow the child. Clear? When you are observing that some of the kids are taking interest in what? Coloring. Some of them are taking interest in rope activity. Some of them are taking interest in what? Dough activity. Some of them are taking interest in what? Paint activity. So you can divide them into those groups according to their interest. Is that clear? Got my point? What was the first way? That you can divide these activities in different days. One day rope, next day rope along with what? That video, flashcard, whatever fixed activities. Fixed activities will be there. And whatever activity is not fixed, you can add it for a taste, for interest, clear? For an extra treat for them. Got it? Depending upon their interest level. And wherever you are feeling that the children are taking more interest at activity, enhance the timing of that activity. Clear? Because that will be there with more efficacy. That will enhance your results. Are you getting my point? That suppose they are taking more interest in what? Paint activity. Give it more time. Clear? When you are feeling that they are getting bored of it, replace that paint activity with what? Cutting, pasting. Got my point? Clear? And finally, for reinforcement, you will go for what? As you learned there, sorting, arranging, ordering, clear? Ascending order, descending order, whatever you like. Am I clear? Next, reading activities. Specifically, aging 5 for advanced Montessori. It's very important. Usually it is observed that the children are there in grade 3 even. They can't read. Grade 4 they can't read. Grade 5 they can't read. Who is responsible for that? Directress of advanced Montessori. Because the last year, because the third year, where we talk about what? Sentence formation. We talk about what? We talked about sentence formation in detail through what language? Frames. So when we are saying sentence formation, in that I told you that reading, clear, leads to what? Writing. Good reading leads to what? Good writing. Clear reading leads to what? Clear writing. While reading, sentence formation leads to what? Sentence formation in writing. And here I'll divide reading into two phases. First phase, you will go for what? Picture description. First phase, picture description. As you can see here, you can go for what? Picture stories. This is first phase, picture stories. A series of pictures linked to each other. Jumbled up pictures may not be there. Meaningful pictures may be there. For example, you can see this picture on screen. What will you do? I'm saying that this is first phase of reading. Oral development. Do mention somewhere. This is what? Oral development. This is visual reading. I'm not talking about exactly the reading of certain given text. Here the child is reading some picture. But while reading, the usage of language is obviously there. How will you do it? What will be the mechanism of that? You will raise questions. The directress will raise questions. You will make a set of questions linked with that story picture. Linked with that different segments of story. For example, you can see it here. How many pictures do I have? 5. You will go for numbering of that. Which one is picture number 1? Which one is picture number 2? As per the sequence of story. According to the sequence of story. How will you practically, as I always focus on how mechanism is very important. Usually it happens that we learn certain things in workshops, but practically we don't implement them. How will you do it? What can be the mechanism? Number 1, you can use what? LED or multimedia. Number 2, You can print out the pictures and paste them on certain chart or on your softboard. Number 3, you can take out the printouts and make them flashcards. Whatever available ways there. The purpose is doing it. How to do it? Though it matters, but not too much. If your manner of doing is becoming a hurdle in doing that thing, change your manner of doing. If you think that the way you are doing it is difficult to arrange, this is a problem for Montessori directresses. Those who are working, they know better that there are multiple things, na? Clear? There are different things to arrange now. So that's why I always say that 1 week earlier, clear? At least your planning must be there, clear? 1 week ahead of that. What is the standard? That the planning of whole year must be done, or the planning for the whole term must be done. If not, at least 1 week ahead of that. Your resources must be well prepared. These are called resources, na? Suppose I'm supposed to do something. This is reading activity next week. Clear? Am I ready with my resources this week or till the end of this week? If yes, then okay. If I am in a mood to do that activity and I am to prepare the resources for that activity at the same time, that would put me in trouble. That would cause into what? Fuss. And that gives you what? Stress. That's why we conducted that session on what is stress management. Specifically that usually the people who are doing jobs, when we talk about teaching specifically, clear, mostly I have come across this question from the teachers that their routine is hectic. Their routine is not hectic because of their work. Their routine is hectic because of their weak planning. When the things are not well planned, it will give you what? A hectic routine. It will lead to hectic routine. You make it hectic on your own. If your things are ready, if your things are well planned for the next week, you'll enjoy the next week. You'll enjoy the practical shape of those activities next week. If next week, clear, you are with attention that when to prepare those resources, how to prepare those resources, clear, it will cause what? Fuss. And that fuss leads to what? Stress. Stress of job. Got my point? So I told you that video. Got my point? That on screen, not video, on screen picture. Secondly, what? On your softboard, you can take out the clip art prints. Which prints? Clip art prints with low cost. You can paste those pictures on your softboard or minimum on your certain chart. Got it, Chi? And finally, minimum of that is what? Flashcards. Minimum. On that flashcard, you can paste those clip art pictures. So how will you do it, Chi? By raising questions, Chi. What sort of questions? WH questions. 5 W's specifically. Or generally you can make it 3. What is going on? Where is that going on? When is that going on? Other than these 3, it depends upon that story. For example, you can take a start with who. Who description. Who is there in picture 1? Who is there in picture 1? This is what language frame. conversation. Indirectly, you are developing the language frame of question tags into the minds of your children. When repeatedly you are asking one by one, ji, Ali will tell ji, Usama will tell ji, Haris will tell ji, Alicia will tell ji, Hassan will tell ji. For example, I'm just naming who is there in picture 1G. Then, in response to that, you'll have to give them frame as a sample. For example, ji, there is a line, there is a mouse, there is grass or grass blades, blades of grass. Am I clear, ji? Who or what? Who or what? Who is there in picture 1? What is there in picture 1? This will give the idea to that child, ji. This is oral development. That who or what are used to ask about the entities, ask about different characters or objects. Do mention both characters or objects. Which questions, ji? Who or what? Then, ji, next question, ji. What is certain character doing? For example, what is lion doing? What is mouse doing? In picture 1, or then picture 2, then picture 3, picture 4, picture 5. Don't you think that when you are dealing with these 5 pictures, and when you are repeatedly asking certain questions, will the child develop certain frames of language in his mind or not? Obviously, yes. Clear? When certain statements are being repeated for many times, clear? Those statements are being incarned. This is called oral development. This is what? Oral development. This is called oral development of language, and you can also call it what you're reading. Reading exercise through what? Picture description. Picture description. Next frame, you can also use that. Where is that? For example, in this story, line, 10 mouse. In some other story, where is certain character? Clear? The line is in fields. The line is in fields, or the line is in forest, or the line is in some green environment, greenery. Got it, ji? In some other story, ji, that character is in house, the boy is in school. And next, some other story, ji, the boy is in playground, the girl is in park. Got my point? I'm talking about multiple things, ji. You can also practice what, ji? Prepositions, ji. Clear? Certain thing is on the bench, under the bench, below the tree. Can you recall? Ma'am Zarlish, you were doing that practice of prepositions. In which class? Advanced Montessori. Are you getting my point? Is that clear, ji? Practice of preposition is always there, also there. Practice of what? Different language frames. This is called what, ji? Picture reading through what? Picture description. Am I clear up till here? Will you be able to go for it or not? We'll go for a short activity, ji. Practical activity. that whether you have learnt it, how will you do it or not ji. Okay ji, now you have learnt ji that how to make questions ji, how to make questions ji. For example there, that if I'm saying in picture 3 ji, that in previous picture, what was the question ji? What is the line doing? What did you say ji? The line is actually catching the mouse. Then ji, that is he killing the mouse? Is he killing the mouse? Clear? Is he trying to kill the mouse? Clear? Yes or no? Leave the answers on to children. Let them guess. Let them guess. Don't give them the answers. Don't dictate them the answers. This is wrong. Clear? From here, actually that rata starts. And it goes till what? First year, second year, even BS level, where the children seem to be demanding all the time that what would be the answer to this question. You must have seen that. What are the notes there? In those notes, actually questions and their answers are given. Given answers are there by teachers. The students actually learn those answers by heart, learn those summaries by heart. Clear? Those given lines are there, and they never seem to be confident regarding what? Making their own answers. Let them, from here the real process starts. For example, when you are asking this question, that is he killing the mouse? Some of them would be with the answer that yes, he is killing the mouse. Some of them, no, he is not killing the mouse, he is just catching him. Some of them, he is trying to catch the mouse. Whatever answer is there, it is correct. It is, am I concerned with the answer or am I concerned with the language development? Language development. For example, in next picture, what is the mouse doing? Am I clear? Is he climbing up the tree? Is he climbing down the tree? Am I clear? Next question, why is he climbing down the tree? Is he going to eat the line? Is he going to catch the line? Let them guess. Let them use their own heads. Am I clear? Then throw a question that, will he be able to catch the mouse? Look at the size of the mouse. Look at the size of the line. Am I clear? You are throwing questions for language development. Along with that, now link it with that. In the previous session, we discussed what language develops what? Thinking. Language develops what? Thinking. And what is that thinking mode? Make it clear that. Don't forget. What did I say in previous session? How does language develop thinking? What tool do we use? WH questions. WH questions. Clear? When I am raising questions now. Clear? And I am not giving answers. I am giving them time to think, time to ponder. Let them make their own answers. Let them guess their own answers. Clear? Whatever answer by them, it is right. According to their age level. Got my point? Never say that your answer is wrong. Never. Never discourage them. Whatever answer, clear? Appreciate that. Very good. Excellent. You tried to. It seems. For example, a child is saying that the mouse is climbing down the tree to eat the line. Clear? Can the mouse eat the line? But at least he can bite him. You can say like this. Yes, you are right. The mouse can bite him. Mouse is climbing down the tree to bite him. Got my point? Never say that your answer is wrong. Never say that how is it possible that a mouse is eating a line. Never say that how is it possible that a mouse is catching a line. Got my point? So these are called open-ended questions. What are these? Mention open-ended questions. What do the open-ended questions mean? The questions which can be there with any answer. The question which can be there with any answer, and that any answer could be considered what? Correct. Where you can never say that this answer is incorrect. Because these are all possibilities. Open-ended questions are there with possibilities, all the possible answers. And if the children are not actually responding to your questions, you make it very clear. Give them clues. Give them clues. Give them different possible options. For example, when I'm asking the question, what is he climbing down to eat the lion? What could be the possible options? Yes, it seems that he is actually going down to take his revenge. Number one. Number two, it seems that he is going down to bite the lion. Clear? It seems that he is going to irritate the lion, because previously the lion was trying to catch him. It seems that he is avenging. He is avenging. In next picture, for example, what is the mouse doing? He is actually cutting the net. How is he cutting the net? Is he using some tool? No. Yes, he is using tool. What tool is he using? He is using his teeth. He is using his teeth. What is mouse famous for? What is mouse famous for? Mouse is famous for what? Its teeth. Its teeth. Because mouse can bite everything. Mouse can chew everything. Mouse can cut everything. Can mouse cut everything? Yes. Can mouse cut metal? Can mouse cut iron? Can mouse cut steel? Can mouse cut wood? Yes. Got my point? What am I doing actually? I am throwing different questions. Clear? To develop what? Language. To develop what? Oral development of language. Clear? So make as many questions as possible. The more you throw questions, the more your children will learn language. Because you are repeatedly asking these questions. No? In almost every other picture story, you will go for the same sort of questions. When you are clear for the whole term, for the whole year, when you are repeating the same questions, can you, what do you think, who is there, what is going on? Got my point? For the whole year. So indirectly the child is developing what? A language. So this can be called a form of reading. So reading what? Reading pictures. Reading pictures through what? Oral development. Got my point? So next phase is what? Where you go for actual text reading. Reading a what? Text. For example, a line is given there, written there. So this reading further contains two phases. One phase is just reading, which we usually call recitation, which is usually called reciting. Though this word is not appropriate, but conventionally, traditionally, this word is used. I simply call it what? Reading without understanding. Reading without understanding. Reading just for the sake of reading. Where the child reads, as we discussed in the previous session, phonics. Through what? Phonics. Phonic reading. And further than from phonic to what? Syllabic reading. If your children are good, and it is preferred, it is recommended that phonic reading must be there. If when phonic reading is good, then you can move from phonic to syllabic reading. It depends upon the stuff you are dealing with. It depends upon your own development. Development of your children in your classroom. If you observe that majority of your kids are comfortable with phonic reading, then you can shift them from phonic to what? Syllabic reading. Got my point, ji? For example, ji, the a r, the a r, there, v a s, v a s. Are you noticing that now? This is not a. Clear? In first phase, in age 3, in junior Montessori, you called it what? A. Now you are calling it what? A. Clear? These were the variants of different sounds about which I was referring. That you need not to teach them all at a time. With every coming word, they will automatically learn it on their own, knowingly or unknowingly. Clear? Was, a. Clear? Boy, boy. Got my point, ji? This is what, ji? Just reading. This is reading for the sake of reading. This is first phase. Second phase, ji? Reading with understanding. Reading with understanding. Which we call what, ji? Comprehension. Which we call what? Comprehension skill. I am not making that child read a certain line. I am making a child develop a skill of reading. There's a difference, make it clear, ji. Usually it happens that the director is reading the line and translating it. This is wrong, ji. This is not the purpose. The purpose is to make the child read, clear, and comprehend on his own. How, ji? By raising WH questions as we discussed. By raising WH questions on what? Action words. On action words. For example, ji, what is action word? Here, ji, was. Clear? You can go for all the three, ji. There is, there was, there will be. You can develop a frame using your whiteboard. This text, for example, is there on your book or on your workbook, wherever it is. You can develop a frame there on your board, whiteboard. What is it, she? There is a boy. There was a boy. There will be a boy. There is a boy now. Do mention now. There was a boy previously, in past, yesterday, and there will be a boy tomorrow, future. According to their level, you can make them understand it by what? Now, yesterday, and tomorrow. So what is it, she? Was. Is it now? No. Is it tomorrow? No. Is it yesterday? Yes. There was. Clear? Who was there? Let the child find himself. Don't dictate him. Who was there? Clear? Let him read and let him find on his own. Who was there? There was a boy. There was a boy. Next question, ji. What was the name of that boy? Don't give him answer. Am I clear? Let him find the answer from the text, ji. Got it? That what was the name of the answer? What was the name of that boy? Sam. What was the name of the boy? Sam, ji. Clear? Next, see that he wrote something. Did he write something? He wore, put on something, or he lived somewhere. Give them variety. I'm repeating that. He wore something. He wrote something. He washed something. What did he do? They will find. He lived. He lived. Is it now? Is this living now? No. Is this living tomorrow? No. Is this living yesterday? Yes. You are giving them the concept of what? Present, past and future. Clear? Lived. The boy lived. Who lived? The boy lived. Who lived? The boy lived. What was the name of that boy? Sam. Got my point? You will keep raising the question from the text and let the child find the answers. It will take time. Give them time. You must not be in a hurry. Clear? Move among them. Clear? Divide them into groups. Wherever you are finding that a boy is unable to, you will observe that. For example, this is there on page 8. They must be watching page 9. At first, take them to that line. Then ask them to read it. That for example, I raise a question on living. That was he washing? No. Was he writing something? No. What is there? Lived. To live means what? To live means what? To stay somewhere. He lived where, He lived where? In a city? In a village? In a factory? In some office? What? On a small farm. On a small farm. With his friends? With his teachers? With his colleagues? With whom? With his family. This is called what? Reading with understanding. Reading with understanding. How will you do it? You will divide that sentence or statement or clause or whatever it is into small chunks. Into small chunks. On the basis of what? Two things. You will take a start from action words. You will pick up action words. And you will raise questions on those action words. And usually the questions on action words are related to what? Naming words. No, normally what? Naming words. As I told you earlier, that when you join noun with verb, this gives you what? A statement. Number one thing, and number two, you will give the exposure of all the three tenses to that child. Present, past and future. For example, regarding lived, how will you give him the exposure? Sam lived, or Sam lives, or Sam will live. Clear? Once again, you will go to the board. 3 frames, you will get there. Sam lives. Now, you will mention in bracket what? Now. Sam lived yesterday. Means previously. Past. Currently he is not living there. And past, currently we are not sure whether he lives now or not. We are talking about what? Past. And Sam will live. Is he living now? No. Was he living yesterday? No. When will he live? Tomorrow. When will he live? Tomorrow. He will live. With every structure you will give what? These 3 situations. What are these 3 situations? Situation of past, situation of present and situation of future. Am I clear? Got my point? Then you can also go for what? Certain what? Exercise. For example, who lived on a small farm? At first that was what? Sample exercise. I made it myself. Secondly, you can give them a statement along with what? Certain questions. And you can make them find out the answers on their own. But it is a guided task, make it clear. It is what? A guided task. What is guided task? Where the directress or teacher remains among them all the time, helping them out how to do it. Usually it happens that we give them a task and we stand here and watch. This is wrong. Give them the task, And immediately after assigning them the task, go among them. Clear? Help them out. In the beginning, they won't be able to do it on their own. For example, imagine that this is the next task. I haven't read this statement. Clear? I haven't made them read this statement. There's a difference. Clear? I will not read the line. Clear? Even in sample reading, I'll make them read it the way I read previously by raising what? Questions. Ji. For example, who lived on a small farm? Clear? I'll ask them to read it. Ji. There was a boy. Got it? Ji? It means that it was not a girl. It was not a girl. It was not a woman. It was not a man. It was a boy. Clear? Find out the name of that boy. Clear? They will try to what? Name Sam. They will link the chunks. The name of that boy is Sam. Now how to respond to this question? This is very important. For this response, you will give them language frames. For this response, what will I do? I'll go to sleep. What will I do? Very good. Language. Stay with me, please. Got my point? Who lived on a small farm? So what language frame he needs? Blank lived on a small farm. Or for example, blank lived on a blank. Make it on your diaries, notes. Blank lived on a blank. One sort of language frame. One type. Second type. Sam blank on a farm. Now you will give them three options at the end in brackets. Number one, lives slash lived slash will live. And ask them to do it. Which one should they pick? Lives? Yes or no? Does he live? No. Will live? No. Lived? Yes. Got my point? So what are you doing, G? It is serving two purposes. Make it very clear, G. This session is very important. I need your full attention, please. As I told you that here we are going for what? Language development along with what? Comprehension skill. Now who will tell me that why am I giving these two language frames, G? What does language frame 1 serve? Ma'am Aisha, you're getting closer. Think more. What purpose does it serve? Ma'am Misbah. Ma'am Nakhla. Comprehension. What is it? What is comprehension? That is extracting, you are right, noun. But that noun is what? Information. Na? That a child can extract an information when he is comprehending it. Na? Clear? Your answer is correct. Clear? But give it a proper name. Na? So when he is finding noun or something, what is he doing actually? He is finding out information. And when he is finding out information, what is actually he doing? He is developing what? Comprehension skill. It means he is getting it. It means he is understanding it. Without understanding, can he extract some noun? Without understanding, can he get some information out of it? So you can say confidently that now you are working on both the skills. On one hand, you are developing what? Language. For which you gave what? Frame 2. What is frame 2? Sam blank on a form. Okay, where you gave 3 options, G. Lives, lived or will live. It is serving what? Which skill? Language. It is developing what? Language. First frame, check both. All of you, G. Check both the frames. Read the first frame for me. Ma'am Aman. What is the first frame? Read it. Blank. Blank lived on a blank. Got my point? Here the child is actually getting what? Information, no? Information of what? Sam. Information of what? Form. Information of a form. Got my point, Chi? Is that clear? So what are you doing? You are developing his comprehension skill, understanding skill. Now read the second frame for me. Sam blank on a small form. Here I am not dealing with what? Information. I am dealing with what? Language structure. What are the 3 structures? For present we use what? Lives. For past we use what? Lived. For future we use what? Will live. So it is serving both comprehension skill and language. Are you getting my point? That's why I call it always that. Clear? That language is considered to be the most important subject. Because basic skills are developed in what? Language subject. That is our problem. That in science you can only work upon what? That one sort of aptitude, scientific aptitude. Here, there in science subjects you can't develop certain skill. The sense of inquiry, clear, basically is developed here, though it is there, clear, but the basis for that sense of inquiry are being developed here in what? Language. That how to extract information, how to collect data. Got it, G? Another frame I can also make it, G. For example, that the farm was dash. The form was dash or blank. Now, respected ma'am, you will tell me what sort of frame it is. Is it a language frame or is it a frame for comprehension skill? Read the frame. What is the frame? What is the question? When I am saying question, frame means a question, G. Is it serving language development or is it serving comprehension skill development? Help her out. Very good. It's developing what, G? Comprehension. Because the child needs to explore the line again. I said what, G? The form was blank. Clear? Big, small. Form was what? Small. And where is the data? Where is the data? In some box? In the given line. In the given. How will he get that data? By cramming it? By learning it by heart? By reading it. After reading, you'll make the child read it that the form was big, small, clear, good, bad. Give him different options. Give him different options. For example, what are the options? Good, bad, big, small. Then make him read this. After reading, he will pick what, G? Small. Got my point? This is called what, G? Reading with comprehension. Here you will work upon both. That certain language frames or certain questions must be there for language development and certain questions must be there what? For what? Comprehension development. Am I clear up till here? Any confusion? I'm giving you a line there ji, you will make two sort of questions, a practical activity we are going for it ji. Now ji, now you have learnt how to clear develop what ji questions clear for both on one hand comprehension skill, on other hand what ji language development, clear, from a certain text or from a certain picture, clear. Number one from a picture, number two from a text, clear. That certain language frames, you divided your language frames into two parts now ji. That certain frames are there for what ji to develop comprehension skill, and certain frames are to develop what ji language. For example, as you made what was the question ji, ma'am Misbah, you brought here, what was your frame? First question, can you read it for me? Dash was the person, blank was a person who struggled for the accomplishment ji. So now this statement here is what ji, to develop what comprehension, clear. And when I am saying that Qaid-e-Azam, clear, blank for the accomplishment of certain idea, struggles, struggled, or will struggle, you made it, no? Got it ji? Now this frame is for what ji, to develop what language structure, to develop what language ji. So this was what ji, reading and writing both. And whenever I am saying reading, always remember which that reading leads to what? Writing. The way you are reading, clear, exactly the way you will write it. The way the child is reading, exactly the way he will write it, clear. Your reading actually leads to, simply you can say that it's directly proportionate, clear. Whatever mechanism you are implementing for reading now, that mechanism will automatically come in what? Your writing. So this was all what regarding what ji? Reading. And when I'm saying reading, do mention also what? Writing along with. Certain other writing exercises we go separately. In coming session, we'll go for the detail of that. But do mention it here, that reading is also linked with what? Writing. In next session, inshallah, we'll go for what ji? This was what ji? Reading. Next session, we'll go for what ji? Oral language development, or exercises for oral language separately ji. That's all for today ji.